away. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you when the feeling goes. I'll be there for you 'cause you're there for me too.
Today we're looking at another J. Ward film, but one that I actually like. A while back I looked at the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, and while it tried to match the cartoon style of humor, it didn't exactly come through in the end. George of the Jungle, on the other hand, was able to do that, but with much greater results. The original show depicted a jungle man, George, who lived with his mate Ursula and his best friend Abe, going on adventures while being like a satire to Tarzan, which he basically was. Like with Rocky and Bullwinkle, I remember little from the show other than actually watching it. But anyway, let's see how Sam Wiseman can handle this particularly funny series as a movie. So swing on in, watch out for that tree, it's George of the Jungle. The movie opens in animated format as we get some narration from Keith Scott, who was also Bullwinkle if you recall, telling us the origin of George, how his plane crashed through an unseen mountain and was pretty much lost to the jungle. We are treated to a semi-okay version of the theme song, though the trailer had the original playing. So why couldn't they use it here? Ah! Seizures! Quick, turn away if you want to live!
25 years later, the bouncing baby boy has grown into a swinging jungle king. He is swift, he is strong, he is short, he is smart. He is unconscious.
And yes, just like Rocky and Bullwinkle, the humor is more self-aware and often breaking the fourth wall. It works better here, though, since we don't have that mind-boggling thought that the real world is the same as in a separate, yet connected cartoon world. This is Ursula, played by Leslie Mann. She's the adorable and somehow quiet main heroine, who I can't tell is trying or not.
Could you die? And over here is the outhouse, which you don't want to see, believe me. By the way, Betsy, thank you so much for those moist towelettes. They've been a lifesaver.
Then you have her fiancé, Lyle, played by Thomas Church, who you might remember as Dwayne from Over the Hedge. He's essentially everything that makes a funny villain, from being greedy and possessive to being disrespectful to others.
But by night, he and Bigfoot run the candy counter at the Bakuvu Cineplex, now playing on all 14 screens, Planet of the Apes.
Also that, and of course not caring for the safety of others.
Don't worry, nobody dies in this story. They just get really big boo-boos.
Just like in a 4Kids dub.
If they turn on us, we're never gonna get home. It's up to me to make the peace. Cigar? Cigarette? Okay. Gifts from America. There you go, my man. Huh? There you go. Magic picture.
Now it's from here on out that karma starts biting him in the ass throughout the whole movie and never letting up. With good timing and substance, I might add.
35mm Zaidi. He says that he likes your magic pictures, but he prefers the resolution of the Leica 35mm transparency. He also says that your lens is dirty, but he has the equipment to clean it for you.
So, feeling humiliated, he takes Ursula into the jungle where, of course, they get attacked by a lion. Lyle goes to get help and falls unconscious. Best fiancé ever. Brendan Fraser! Save us, Slayer of the Undead!
Well, we're boned.
Rubber tree. Always good for clothesline.
Oh man, I wish I could show you the whole fight, but then we'd be stuck on the movie forever. Let's just say it's really funny seeing a man in loincloth pulling off wrestling moves on a lion. The cheesiness of this scene is so silly, it's fun. At any rate, he saves Ursula, but...
Watch out for that tree!
She said it! So he takes the rather dazed Ursula to his super fun treehouse, where after awaking in bed, is surprised to meet my favorite character in this movie.
Get away! Get away! Get away!
This is Ape, voiced by former Python member John Cleese. He's the smart, wise Alec ape who lives with George since, well, someone's gotta watch that knucklehead.
It wants its physician's desk reference, if you don't mind. Unless you'd rather die of dengue fever, of course.
That is very funny. I thought I heard the monkey talk. But that is totally understandable, right? I mean, why wouldn't an ape read textbooks, and why wouldn't I find myself in a treehouse with room service and a Tarzan wannabe?
I think this is the most emotion we got out of her so far. Mostly she's been quiet while trying to make her screams believable. So, much like Tarzan himself, he's fascinated about the fact that there is a female version of his kind. And, well, remember part of him is still animal, so... it's charming? Well, despite her wanting to leave, George agrees to help and calls his dog Shep. Or should I say, elephant dog? Yeah, no, that won't work. But it's still a pretty fun scene to watch, even if the green screen and bad use of CGI are noticeable.
Where'd he go?
No, not in the roses!
Now, even though the humor has mostly been hitting the sweet spots, this is where it becomes obvious that the story writing isn't that great.
Ursula!
While he desperately searched for her.
Ursula!
But by the end of the afternoon, her desperation had dimmed,
That was fantastic!
and she had given up all hope of everything.
Really? You gave up on him and now just want to enjoy your time? Granted, he's a jerk, but at least he's searching for you. Still, it provides her a chance to see how friendly George is to the wildlife. Like, helping this little monkey to stand up for himself. And it looks like George even has respect from the lions, too. He even shows off his swinging technique in probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Look, no hands!
It's so graceful, all girls he could please, and with love he is swinging away. He climbs through the air
That's pretty
with the
good.
bravest of ease.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
So it turns out he's slowly falling in love with Ursula. Not knowing how to make her his mate, he asks Ape, which results in even more funny moments.
Bulging out your cheeks and pursing your lips.
Show George.
All right? Just like this, watch. Even puffier. Next, display your interest by drawing back your upper lip, jutting your jaw forward, and exposing your teeth.
Okay, I think you get the idea. So after some more funny George moments, he tries to have a tender moment for once.
I found it in a cereal box when I was 10 years old. It's my good luck. My choo-choo. Can I... I want you to have that.
For George. That's the nicest present George ever got.
Aww. And yes, I like the dance scene that follows. It's a nice change from the comedic character development, and adds just a little bit of variety in their little bonding session. But we really need to move the plot along. But first, a poop joke, which would have been okay had they not said this.
Bad guy falls in poop. Classic element of physical comedy. Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
Except you have to explain it to me. If you have to explain a joke, there is no joke.
Oh, nice. You brought along a gun that looks just like your lighter. That's totally not a safety hazard or anything. So they find George, disappointed that he's really not a white ape after all. Lyle goes in first, running into Ursula only to get told off. Max and Thor decide to go after Shep for his tusks, even though they are too small to be even worth anything. But then, tragedy.
Okay, kids, let's settle down and review the important information. Lyle is a big doofus. Poor George was really shot but can't die because, let's face it, he's the hero. So, the naturally concerned and preternaturally wealthy Ursula Stanhope...
Wait, how the hell did he live through that? He was shot in the head. He should be dead.
If you get shot in your head, it's over. If you get shot in your face, the bullet will go in your cheek, then come out the other side.
Well, it hit the top portion of his face then, if that matters. But anyway, he's being taken to San Francisco to be treated, while Lyle goes to jail for even more humiliation.
Yes, Mother, I'm safe.
You're sure you didn't catch dengue fever?
No, Mother, I did not catch dengue fever.
Well, how's your temperature?
Normal.
Color of your tongue?
Oh yeah, her. That's Beatrice, Ursula's mother. Her role might be confined to this act of the film, but trust me when I say that she becomes quite a thorn if you actually see the second movie. Another time, perhaps. Oh my! Wacky hijinks in the city! This is what Jungle to Jungle needed. A dim-witted caveman getting into trouble. But he's still just a big softy with muscles.
George.
And probably a huge dick. So Ursula wonders how she's going to tell her parents about the fact Lyle is in jail, and that she brought home George, in which her friend simply tells her that she would just have to tell the truth. After getting him some clothes, she decides to leave George alone, bad idea, while she goes to confront her father. Suddenly George evolved into Couch Potato Man!
Now George understand? George get coffee, then Ursula want George.
What is in this coffee?
And thus he has the time of his life, enjoying McDonald's, drumming at a gym, and even going up the Bay Bridge, only to then try and save a guy who somehow parachuted into it.
Thanks, man. Oh, don't mention it. King of Jungle, only here to...
All together now. Well, that was exciting. Effect-wise, it looked pretty damn realistic, for the most part. Meanwhile, Max and Thor go after Ape, since he can talk after all, who then sends Tukey to go find George, who is busy teaching Ursula things that will never work in society. But funny enough, it works in getting her to talk to her parents. Sorta.
Hope proceeded to spill the
I went
beans.
to the jungle.
Very quickly.
So Lyle is in jail, and George is with me. And I don't want to marry Lyle anymore.
I knew it. It's that swinging man from the bridge. I saw you smooching on TV.
Beatrice, this is supposed to be her wedding, not yours.
So?
Beatrice, I know you're upset. And so am I, but we can't force her to marry someone against her will.
Why not?
Why not? Hello? You're acting as though she never had a choice. Maybe that's why I despise her just a little bit more than Lyle.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to see you, Mr. Mayor.
And you know, it's so nice to get away from City Hall. And be around some normal people for a change.
Well, they are perfectly normal, I assure you. In an exceptional way, of course.
Elitist and snobby too. Can we go back to George now? So anyway, Beatrice tries to tell George to stay away from Ursula or else. While pondering about what to do, Tukey shows up to tell him that Ape was kidnapped and thus decides he needs to leave Ursula after all. In the words of many YouTube commenters, this is still a better romance than Twilight. I mean, come on, by this point she knows him and he knows her. He means well, and given his personality, would you honestly say he's the kind of person who'd do anything wrong to her now? So she learns what Beatrice said to George and even admits to loving him.
Careful out there, honey.
What?
Goodbye, Daddy.
Love you.
What? I love you, Mom. Thank you.
Arthur, do something!
What would you have me do? There's obviously no stopping her.
Oh, God. Ursula!
God, that woman's a pain in the ass.
I agree. And now some promotional consideration from UPS and Air Sneakers.
I'm hungry.
Oh, shut up. You've been yakking for 2 days straight. I'm getting mad enough to...
You know, you really should work on your anger. Have you tried Brankovsky's Cage the Rage technique?
Don't let him get to you, Thor. He's just an ape.
That's a fine way to talk to your meal ticket. You keep that up, it's liable to affect my stage performance.
Give him a banana, Thor. Won't be long now.
Actually, the trail is a fake. It circles Ape Mountain 6 times before heading right back to the treehouse.
I'm cutting a lot again, but really? Such humor is best left to be seen. Because again, good timing, good substance, good writing. So after a quick fight with the narrator, George fights off Max and Thor in comedic fashion. Ursula comes in at the last minute to save him while George finishes the fight. So I guess we can start wrapping up now? We can go to the wedding?
Truly.
Haven't seen the light yet.
Lyle.
Lyle? Yes, Lyle. For the venal Vandergroot had escaped from the Bujumbura jail and joined an obscure cult on the shores of Lake Tanganyika, which had empowered him with a peculiar piece of parchment.
What? Bullcrap! How did you get past the guys who only humiliated you and would gladly hunt you down for being too stupid to exist? And how the hell did you get those guys on your side? Well, it doesn't matter, as Little Monkey summons the Teenage Mutant Ninja Apes to kick ass. Off-screen, George goes after Lyle, who has stupidly taken Ursula on a water slide before reaching a river that leads to rapids. George only has so little time to save her, so it's time to go turbo. Damn, that's a long vine. Rather, that's a huge tree to allow that kind of swing. Now that is how you demolish a tree. So he saves Ursula just before Lyle goes into a cave where he suffers the most humiliating act of all.
Right.
I'm here to say was that I love you.
Ursula loved George?
And so the two finally get married, with everyone enjoying themselves. Even Beatrice eventually learned to lighten up, and the two have a child, and of course it ends on a parody of The Lion King. Such is the way of George. So that was George of the Jungle, and even now, it's still fun to watch. The writers knew what they wanted this movie to be. A lighthearted comedy that comes straight out of the George of the Jungle universe and does nothing but poke fun at itself while still providing some nice character development. Most of the cast performed really well and were definitely having fun with their roles. Though Leslie, I found, was the weakest when it came to emoting. Brendan Fraser's energetic performance as George was perfect, and John Cleese as Ape nearly stole the show with his lines. The effects were mostly good, and the music selection was nice as well. Everything just had a charm to it that kept going throughout the whole movie, and at times it felt like it surpasses anything the TV show could have done. However, unless you're into the kind of comedy presented here, then you'd just find it as uninteresting as other family films that focus more on the comedy than the overall story. Especially when the story isn't all that great. It's more of a subjective issue really, but otherwise the only way you're going to enjoy this film is to open your mind and see how things turn out. To me, this is one of the better live-action adaptations to an old cartoon, one that I recommend anyone to see. It's funny, enjoyable, and has heart. I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle, lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with help from his friend, an ape named Ape.
Mother, Daddy, I love you both very much. I have something very important to tell you, and I hope you'll understand. I don't want to marry Lyle anymore.
We understand, dear.
Just kidding.
It's only